I'm outside of the School of Oriental and African Studies. Tonight we're here to celebrate the launch of Jacqueline Shaw's book, African Fashion Guide.
Blackmail beats.
So that's why I decided to create this book and bring it to the market. You know, my thing is, if you don't see it out there, do it yourself, create it, make it happen. Anything's possible. This is the recently published version of Fashion Africa, and it's a standout site, so please go and check it out and sign up. It's on Amazon now, and Waterstones, and many websites now, so you have an opportunity to buy it and support what I'm doing. You know, this is to celebrate the designers. It's not about me, it's about, you know, what I believe in, African fashion. So yeah, please have a look, check it out and support.
Africa Fashion Day Berlin is a platform for designers of African heritage. I'm the founder, and it's necessarily to have a platform where designers can showcase their collection. We want to bring awareness to the audience. We need to show what kind of African fashion scene is there.
So tonight, what are you here to gain? What's your main interest?
I traveled from Hamburg to London, so I'm here to meet people, to network, to get new ideas, to find out, who is here, and to make friends and to let people know what I do, so I can hopefully invite them also to Africa Fashion Day Berlin, and also to have a good time in London.
It's wonderful we have somebody to come all the way for Berlin just for this event. This is how major this event is, and the platform in African fashion.
I'm interested in the way that the web and new technologies are changing access to these markets. I've seen some really impressive African designers that have caught my eye, and I'm thinking of how to widen those audiences for those particular products, how they can be made more available, and I think there's no reason they shouldn't do really well, so I'm here in that capacity. Yeah.
My new venture is Kiswa. It's a new African fashion website based out of Johannesburg. It's an e-commerce website essentially, where they will collaborate with designers to make capsule collections. They produce collections for them and obviously sell them for them, and then the profits go back to the designers. So it's a really nice new model for African fashion, and then I work on the editorial side of the website, doing nice stories.
So give us the pros of working in African fashion.
You get to be at the forefront of something and the vanguard of something that everyone wants a piece of now. You get to draw on centuries of amazing textiles and traditions and create something new and exciting. And it's really good.
Daphne Kasambala, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sepele.com.
So before, we heard that you were into business. So what changed you to become a creative mind?
It actually started from a very early age. I come from a very creative family. Everybody in my family sews, and my mother was actually a needlework teacher. So by the time I was 16, I was making my own clothes. However, I followed the traditional route of a career, went to university, got a degree, and ended up working in banking. But all along, I still had that creative itch in me that needed to be scratched. And it came a point in my career where, and also I had worked with a lot of retailers in the UK, and I got to understand a little bit about how they work. So when I then started asking myself about what I can do to give back to Africa, where I come from, after a very long period of soul searching, it just came naturally to me that I could combine my commercial skills with my love for the creative and put together a platform being here in the UK that actually promoted African fashion and gave a platform to the designers we work with to actually reach a global market.
I'm the Managing Director of Sandstorm Kenya. We're a luxury premium bags and accessories business based in Nairobi, Kenya. We make everything ourselves. We actually started as a business because we used to make safari tents, so our kind of heritage was within safari tentage. Started to make lots of canvas bags and then branched out into canvas, leather trim, full leather. Today more than half the bags we sell are actually full leather, all Kenyan leather. And we're a vertical business in that we make everything ourselves, but we also principally retail through our own shop. So we've got 7 shops in East Africa, and we also sell online in Europe. So we're kind of unusual, I think, as a brand and as a business, and we want to be the first brand in our category to kind of sort of, I suppose, kind of emerge from sub-Saharan Africa, from East Africa, and be adopted internationally, and that's our kind of longer-term vision. We've concentrated as a brand on quality. We've concentrated on just making very, very special products. We don't have a production line. One sewer makes one bag from start to finish. You know, all of that kind of love and all of that care that goes into the product, I think, you know, our customers appreciate.
Okay, on the panel you were very passionate about the business side, that there's not enough business savvy in the fashion in the African fashion industry. So what would you, for an up and coming fashion designer, what advice would you give them to say, this is what you need, this is what is important?
I think I'm passionate about it because both as a magazine editor and also I was on the publicity. I was the head publicist for Africa Fashion Week London for 2 years. So you handle a lot of up and coming and emerging designers and you see the mistakes that they make, and you also handle established designers and you know what they've done right to get to where they are today. So I'm quite passionate about educating the young ones, and what I would say is make sure that you learn, you better your trade, you don't take it for granted. Don't just invest in the fabric side of your business, because there's also the other side of it, the PR and the marketing that you also need to invest in. Photo shoots, as long as they look classy and quality, you will still, I mean, somebody was just showing me their lookbook, and the fact that they had quality pictures gave a good first impression, and that counts. So I think those are the things. And I was on another panel yesterday, and there was a designer who started this at 2010, and she talked through the mistakes that she made. And one thing that stayed with me was, before you put a lookbook out there and a press release, make sure you know what your manufacturing costs are and how long it will take you to produce a piece of work. And that kind of stayed with me from last night, so I would say that as well.
I generally have a big passion for textile traditions. And so I was actually, when I was researching what kind of business I wanted to build, I was looking at textile traditions along the slave trail. And it led me back at looking at the history of parts of London and where people came from. And I ended up looking at West Africa and identified that as one of the most amazing places for textiles. And so, yes, that's how I ended up there. I know it's a funny thing to maybe say, because I don't necessarily just do things well in the place where I'm from, but I think the one thing to achieve is to do things well with what you've got and do them well in the places that you live, and then focus out from there.
So hi, I'm Jacqueline Shaw, the author of the book Fashion Africa, the founding director of Africa Fashion Guide.
What was your inspiration for you to even venture into Africa and African fashion?
A love of textiles. I'm a fashion designer by trade, and just textiles is what's inspired me. In African fashion and textiles, there's a vibrancy, the fabrics, the colours. There's like a story that goes into every thread, and that's what really inspired me to do what I'm doing today.
So tonight has been very successful.
Thank you.
So what was your inspiration of organising something like this, an event like this where people could learn about African fashion, about textiles, fabrics? What was your inspiration? Why you wanted to bring people together from all different cultures, from all different backgrounds?
I really wanted to change perceptions. That's something I always say, to bring encourage conversation, encourage people to get together and network and just build partnerships, and that's probably the only way that we can really make a difference and impact lives and communities. But the main thing is just changing perceptions. Africa's not that dark continent that everybody would always think it of being. You know, it's like this vibrant lion continent. It's been called by like the Economist magazines and, you know, those kind of companies. So there's there's a change, and I wanted to create that platform to really, like this conference, really let people know what is happening today and not what they saw yesterday.
What is the future of African fashion?
Well, as one of the panelists said tonight, the future's bright. There just is a future. I think there's opportunity for manufacturing, there's opportunity for more designers and creatives to really get their work out and let people know that they are there, and opportunity for Africa to just be recognised in a new way.
So what advice would you give our viewers about the new entrepreneur, somebody who, has got all these creative ideas but just doesn't know how to put it in the right,
It might sound cliche, but if you can envision it, you just need to step out and make it happen. But I just had this vision, what I wanted to happen, and I thank God that it's all come through, and it has been successful. I'm very pleased. Tired, but pleased.
Wonderful work. It's been a great night, and all the best for the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. A lot of people have been challenged and changed just by fashion. Fashion is very important, but most of all, African fashion. Thank you.